Hau, the new rival in Sun and Moon, is personally, in my opinion, one of the best rivals we've ever had in any Pokemon game. He encourages you to push harder, and he's near you for the majority of the game, constantly challenging you. He doesn't let his losses to you get to him, but instead uses the experience to get stronger. Unlike most rivals though, he mentions his father and the kind of man he is. From what he describes, he is the complete opposite of Hau. Hau is rather lax, carefree, and always seems to have a smile on his face. Hau describes his father as the kind of man that didn't like being labeled as the son of a kahuna, and therefore leaving the region of Alola to another part of the world before Hau was born. Hau also describes him as a very powerful trainer. Who could this man be, and what kind of trainer is he? Well, I think I have found the answers to those questions and many other answers to what kind of person this man could be. So without any further ado, let's get into this investigation. So there are actually many signs that Bruno could be Hau's father, and the son of the Melee kahuna, Hala. As I said before, Hau mentions his father leaving Alola due to him not liking the fact that he is the son of a kahuna, and now he works far away from Alola. A person that seems to be isolated apart from everyone else and has that sort of attitude points to Bruno. In his Fame Checker entries in Fire Red and Leaf Green, it mentions him joining the Elite Four to find the most powerful trainers and always trying to test his own strength. This points out that Bruno more than likely left Alola to get out from his father's shadow. There are also several points that point out Hau was talking about how his father could be in the Kanto region. He mentions wanting to go to Kanto to be able to see Lily, and traveling the world to see his dad. Kanto is the place that sticks out the most due to how much it is brought up within the games themselves. Kukui even mentions that he challenged the Indigo League out of every league. Despite not bringing up Bruno directly, there has to be some connection there. I am certain Bruno and Kukui had to have known each other for quite some time before Bruno left Alola. Hau even mentions his father being very powerful, and being a member of the Elite Four definitely is a title deserved for someone who is an amazing battler with a lot of skill. Those speculations are just scratching the surface though. There are still deeper connections that can be made. One example bearing the strong physical appearance between Hau, Hala, and Bruno. All of them wear their hair in ponytails, and Bruno and Hau have the same hairdo. Both of their styles have their hair going over their ears. The brows are even similar, being bushy amongst the three. Physical features aside though, let's look more into Bruno's possible father, Hala, and the habits they share. The biggest one to point out is that Bruno and Hala both use fighting type Pokemon. Bruno even mentions before you battle him in Fire Red and Leaf Green that he has lived and trained with this fighting Pokemon, and that would never change, meaning that he was born and raised in the using fighting Pokemon, very similar to his father. They also have very similar training regimens and both take their training very seriously. This can be seen from an NPC in Hala's house where he describes how Hala takes his sumo training very seriously. Bruno goes off to the Sevii Islands to do his training and is mentioned quite a few times in his Fame Checker entries that he rehabs his own injuries in his Pokemons. His desire to battle the strongest trainers definitely brings out the spirit to train harder too. Honestly though, I feel there is one more strong candidate that could be Hau's father, being Chuck, but there are flaws as to why he couldn't. He looks very similar to Hala, being chubby and shares similar hair features to a degree, and he also uses fighting Pokemon with similar teams. Hau and Chuck also love sweet things. Hau loves malasada, and Chuck is always talking about how he sneaks behind his wife's back to eat sweets, and how much he adores them. The major flaw is the fact that Chuck has a wife who we see. I also couldn't imagine both the mother and father leaving Hau alone with his grandpa in Alola, but they could have remarried or done something, I have no idea. All I can say is, Bruno and Chuck are the biggest contenders in my opinion in terms of being Hala's son and Hau's father. Well, that was my theory on who could potentially be Hau's father. What do you guys think though? Does it match up? Are there better contenders? Share your thoughts in the comment section below. Let's get a conversation going. I also wanted to give a shout out to my friend Ellie for helping me with some of this research. If you guys did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and share this video with a friend. With that being said though, I have been Mr. Umbreon, and I will see you in the future for more Pokemon content.